Hey, what's going on, guys? Godstatus here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the AKU12. Setup I'm going to be running is going to be Reflex, Compensator, Folding Grip, and Green Laser. The reason I'm doing this is because one of my channel members, Mark, has been requesting it a lot. And I also had the topic I want to talk about of kind of why guns like this are forgotten, and are they even worth using? Because there's a lot of guns out there, especially with the AK series. There's so many of them that most people don't even care. There's, you know, the AK-12, the AK-12C, AK-U12, which I'm going to be using right now, the AKM, AK-103. There's a million AKs, right? And most of the time, a lot of people are just going to look at them and be like, they probably aren't worth it or something like that. They don't really care to look at them because there's so many of them. So I kind of want to look at why guns like this are completely just forgotten about. They're not used that often, and what they could possibly change to bring them into use. Now, again, I feel like the main issue with the AK is that there's so many of them, and people are just going to be like, oh, this one's half decent, why look at the others? Most of the average players don't really look into the stats of guns, and that's understandable. So I thought I might as well talk about it. AKU12, it could 3-shot close range, but only up to like 30 studs, which it's really like here to like the box. Like that is the 1-shot range. Like it really isn't that far. Perfect timing, Bodo, another one of my channel members. But that's really the 1-shot range, which isn't far by any means. Like that's barely even useful half the time. If you're playing on something like Metro or something, sure, it could be decent. But this gun isn't bad by any means. It's a 6-shot at range, which a lot of people might get kind of annoyed about because we're used to like 4-shot, 5-shot at worst. And having a 6-shot at range is something that almost reminds you of like an SMG having that kind of damage, which I believe there might even be some SMGs that do similar, if not better range, like time to kill, which is a little weird. However, I think I kind of understand where the balance point of that came into. Bro, this guy is nuts with the SFG. Pedal Master is just going off. Nice, okay. But I understand where that balance kind of came into play. So I honestly wouldn't mind seeing guns like this be kind of changed up. Like I said, I feel like they filled a gun spot and didn't really have anything too unique to offer. But that's not to say that they couldn't ever have something unique to offer. There's still room to be played with. And even if we change this gun into something, if we added literally one more minimum damage to the gun, it would make the gun a 5-shot at all ranges, which could be really nice. That kind of competes with like your average AR. It might even become a little too busted at that point, but it's something that I feel like could definitely be tested and played with. Because if you think about it, most ARs are still going to be like 4 shots close range, which is why I say it could be potentially a little busted. It's super accurate, it has a decent reload time, and if it was 5-shot at range, 3-shot close, could be a bit iffy. But like I said, 3-shot to 30 studs isn't anything too crazy, right? I could see it being changed up a little bit, but like I said, it's also a touchy topic that would definitely require testing. And these are kind of thoughts in my head, not thoughts that are really put on paper and played with, which could definitely change my opinion on things. It 100% could. I wish there was a way we were able to kind of like test things out on our own, but we can't. It's still something that I personally think could be introduced. Look at how accurate this gun is. It's by no means a terrible gun. And like I said, even close range, it really does do very well. So using this on a map like Metro or even Warehouse would be good. Or even if we extended the, not necessarily the 3-shot range on the gun, but the bullet drop off. So I believe, I don't remember the minimum, or the maximum range, because I know up to 30 studs it'll 3-shot, but it has a kind of quick drop off after that, where it doesn't really have a far 4-shot range. Even if we change something like that, this could make the gun that much more usable and that much more appealing to average players. It could do a lot more damage at a range. It could get a 4-shot, let's say up to like 70 studs, 80 studs. And that alone would do quite a bit. It would require a little bit of tweaking of stats, and I don't know how easily it would be to pull something like that off, because I know there's a lot of tweaking that would have to go into like its max and minimum damage, or actually the minimum damage would stay the same, but its max damage, the bullet drop off time, you know, that curvature of everything. So it would definitely take some tweaking. It would take a little bit of work, but I feel like that's something that really could lighten up the gun. It could introduce it to more people and make it a lot more appealing. The fact that there's like 20 different AKs and like not 20, let's say like there's 7 different AKs. I don't know if that's true. I'm just using a generic number. If there's 7 AKs, and let's say the AKM and the AK-103 literally like the same gun, so they do the exact same thing, so there's no reason to really even have the 103, because what's the true difference of it? Then you take something like the AK-12C, the AKU12, and they also do something really similar. They're not anything super unique. So what makes using the AKU12 better than using something else, or using the AKU12 compared to ARs? And that's where I feel the gun really lacks. It has amazing recoil, but you could take something like the AKU to have amazing recoil. It has a decent rate of fire with the amazing recoil, so I believe that's what kind of buffs it above the AKU. Just slightly, but I believe the all-game one is a 5-shot at range compared to a 6, which is where they're just a little different. It's these very small little differences, but nobody's really going to look into that other than nerds like us. Like, people who play the game way too much, like myself and others, we look into these things. The average player doesn't. And that's just where things are going to get really lost in translation. And I would like to see things like that kind of pushed more publicly, make guns a bit more mainstream. I also feel like it's a little bit harder, and I wonder if there would be an easier way to kind of summarize this up for people, because I know, like, me, sort of, some of the stats on, like, the advanced page, I know what I'm looking at to a certain degree, and then some people don't. I feel like it's confusing for a lot of people, especially the graph. I kind of want to show this real quick, because this is something that really, I think, could be changed. This graph right here, right? So this says 100 studs. We don't know where this actually hits. We don't know where specifically, unless you, like, do a ton of math, where the damage range goes from a 3-shot to a 4-shot. And then from a 4-shot to a 5-shot, 5-shot to a 6-shot. I wish there was a way to kind of see that a bit more easily and make it more interesting for people who, you know, don't want to go and math this up for 2 hours just to figure out what the gun's truly capable of. If that could be simplified, or stop, Jesus. If that could be made a bit more simple for people, I feel like that'll really help. I feel like that's going to be a huge help to newer players, because even I know when I first started playing the game, I never really looked at stats. I didn't even really know how to look at them correctly, and I didn't know how to tell what was really going on with them. And that's something that I feel like everyone should be able to do with, you know, some ease. It should be able for anyone to really look at it and get a certain understanding of what's going on to a certain degree. It would take a lot of overhauling of things. It would be a pretty big update, in my opinion. But I feel like that's something that would really help, especially the newer player base of the game. And retaining players specifically, I think it would help them out a lot if they could see what guns do what and what exactly they do. So, although, you know, a lot of people aren't going to realize that, like, 30 studs isn't a far range or, you know, things like that, it at least gives them the opportunity to understand it a bit more easily. And I think that would be really cool. Now, you take something like the AK-12, and again, I'm going to be using this as, like, my primary example because I'm using the gun for the video. If you take something like this gun and made it a bit more easier to understand, if you were able to show, like, where this gun would end a 4-shot, when it would start a 5-shot, things like that, it would really be able to compare to other guns. Especially for someone like me who tries to talk about guns, or like anyone who tries to talk about guns, it would be a lot easier for everyone to kind of compare and contrast and see what else is out there. Not to mention, you know, this isn't the main point of this, however, it could be a unknown side effect. Not unknown, but, you know, a side effect of this. People might be willing to buy credits and buy new guns and things like that if they could really understand what they're getting into. I know a lot of people, especially like people that I've talked to and I've come into contact with because of my YouTube channel and everything, it happens more often than people talk about, where they'll buy a gun and then it's terrible for them. It's nothing like what they thought. And that's something that, like, really, I wish people could understand more and be able to do a bit more research. Wow, that took a lot longer to kill than I hoped for. And they'd be able to understand better what they're getting themselves into. Maybe they'll save their credits for a different gun. Maybe, you know, they'll spend a few Robux to buy a bit more credits to buy the gun that they might really want, and things like that. It's pretty good. I think that's a win-win for developers and players involved. Ooh, okay, this is gonna be bad. There we go. That guy actually died pretty fast. Nice. So it's something that I think should be looked into. Maybe a possibly really good update, in my opinion. Wait, is there still a guy behind me, or did he die? I'm gonna hope that he died, because I really don't want to have to worry about him the whole time. But it's something that could really help. Now, especially guns like this, and, you know, to avoid people buying those guns that they're really not gonna like, because we don't really have... I get we have, like, the test place, but how many people even know about the test place? How many people even know how to get to the test place is my issue. That's something that I really wish Stylus did better as well, was market the test place a lot more. Push it a lot more publicly, because the only place I really see it talked about on, like, a broad scale is the Stylus Discord. And what's that really going to do? Most people don't even know you can go to the Stylus Discord, do a bot command, and get the link to the test place. It's basically unknown, so the really only testing that goes on is people who are involved more in the community. I would almost be willing to put money on the fact that if you talk to, like, some newer players, not newer, but, you know, people who have played real casually, they're not super into communities or anything like that, but people who have played real casually, they probably don't even know the test place is even a thing. And that's bad, right? Like, you would want more people testing it, and I believe that would also lead to a bit more community interaction as a whole. Granted, I talk bad about some people because there's a lot of people out there who will go test the gun, and they'll give their opinion, and no opinion is necessarily wrong, but people will, like, suggest things, and they're just... they wouldn't be good for the game, right? Now, not saying that I am in any way, shape, or form am always correct. I'm not. I'm wrong a lot. But there's some people who, you know, could have some really good ideas out there that we don't really know about. Let's take someone like Tammy. If you guys don't know Tammy, Tammy talks about guns a lot, learns a lot about stats, everything like that. Tammy's pretty knowledgeable in that stuff. Let's say we had someone like Tammy who didn't have any access to the community and didn't know how to get involved in the community to try to voice their opinions or help others. That's a pretty big part. There's a lot of other people out there who are really into gun stats and, like, you know, really like looking into those things, and they'll try to educate others people on it and blah, 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 and they're always up to talk about it. But if they didn't have that community access, their opinions and, like, their, you know, knowledge would be kind of wasted on the topic. And I feel like that's something we don't want to waste. Knowledge is always good. Any kind of opinion that could benefit the game should be sought out, and it really would give people more of an outlet to kind of look into stuff, test out guns they might not have. Granted, I know that was a really big issue in the test place a while ago. Giving people, like, unlimited credits, I don't think is the best thing. So I wish there might be... It's hard to say. I'm bringing this up because it was an issue with people buying, like, BFG and, like, joining the test place just to spam BFG and not really testing anything, which is why they made some of the guns be like, you could only use this at times or things like that, which is good. But I wish there was another way for people to test things out and kind of get a feel. Even if they could have another server where, if they made another PF game, let's say, where it was more or less like a private server, and they allowed for people to get, like, spawn in a dummy and test things out, that would be awesome to me. I doubt the developers will see this, but if anyone's watching this video and pitches that to them, I think that would personally be pretty awesome. Take PF's game as a whole, create a new game with it, let's say, like, quote-unquote new game, add an ability for people to spawn in, like, player dummies or things like that, and allow them to have access to all guns attachments and whatnot, and give us, like, a real testing zone. Something that we don't have to, like, wait for other players, because a lot of times the test place is, like, dead. That's why I don't really record videos on the test place a lot of times, because if I go in, it's gonna be, like, me and 2 other people. I don't be sitting there waiting for, like, 10 minutes. I'll talk as much as I can, but there's really no gameplay to go with it. So if we could have, like, an actual testing zone, I think that would be amazing. To have, like, a full testing zone where we could spawn in, like, a dummy and it'll have, like, unlimited health, but it'll show the damage being done. That would be amazing. I feel like that would help out so much. I personally would use that quite a bit. It would make it a lot easier for us to test out things and give real feedback on it. And I don't think it would be too crazy of a challenge for them to make that either. I don't think that would be insanely hard, or at least I hope it wouldn't be. Granted, I don't know much about coding, so I'm really kind of talking on a general level. I think that would be huge. To be able to test things out like that would be absolutely huge for a lot of people. And that would give the outlet, and like I said, push it to the public. Make it available for the people who just play the game on a very casual level, and let them be able to test that out. Take a game like Apex Legends, for example. Have they had their, I think it's called, like, training grounds or, like, training zone or whatever it's called, where you can go and test things out? Something exactly like that would be awesome. Or even give the option potentially for that to be done in a private server if you own the private server. Maybe you don't even have to make a whole new game, just give an option for that in private servers, and that would just be awesome in its own. It's not something too crazy, right? Like, I think that's a really good idea. It's probably been pitched before, and I haven't heard an answer about it, so I'm just saying that as if, like, I'm thinking about it right now, and I don't know if there has been anything brought up or whatnot. I think it would help a ton. I think it would really help out new players in that sense. That's mainly what I'm pushing for. New players can get a feel for things, they can test things out on their own. They could look at guns like the AKU12 without having to spend credits on it and see what the gun's about and is it really worth using, right? Like, help out the newer player base a little bit. I just realized we're at 90 kills. We have 1 minute and 20 seconds left, so let's quickly drop the 100 and wrap up the video. We just need 10 more kills in 1 minute 20. If I don't get that, I'm going to be pretty upset with myself. It's going to be kind of embarrassing, not going to lie. All right, there's 2. I'm not going to lie. I was getting a little worried as I was saying that because I wasn't finding anyone. And I think a lot of them happen to be, that's a teammate, in our spawn, so that's not good either. Ooh, no. All right, well, there goes one of my potential kills. Bro, where's everyone at? There's 1 minute left, and I'm just not finding people. I hear this guy running around. Where is he? There's one. I just saw the other guy, though. Is everyone dead over here? I'm gonna hope that we push them all back, because I need, like, 7 more kills, I think. And I'm trying to just wrap this up with 100. Okay. Okay. All right, buddy. We're on your team. Quit shooting at us. Thank you. I appreciate it, though. No, 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 no. Where's the other guy? How did you... Oh, my God. No, there's 2? All right, we need 4 kills in 30 seconds. Can we please just wrap this up? Oh, wait. I just realized the game's also kind of close to ending. What? Why are you over there with the BFG? 20 seconds for 4 kills. Oh, wow. There's so many of them right there at their spawn, too. Okay, that's not a kill. That's... Oh, wait, no, that's 1 kill. No, please. Hold up. Hold up. We need literally 1 more kill, I think. And we're not going to get him, and we're dead. Oh, we choked. Whatever. 99-34. I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys do agree with me about any of this, make sure you pitch it somewhere. Make it known that we want something that newer players can work with, and it can help them out. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.